Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of The Letter. Last time, we got some pretty big reveals. I think we probably have Stuffed Kyoto's real name, aka Tatato. Now it hasn't actually been proven. It's just what Kylie's been calling her, but I'm just gonna assume it's true until we see otherwise. We saw some more of Tatako's I don't know if it's a plan, but she wants Lute's it seems like she wants Lute's spirit to be eternally with the mansion. Like I feel like maybe there's a bunch of trapped spirits in the mansion from the past and well maybe Lute was supposed to be there, his didn't, and he like reincarnated properly, so she's trying to get him into it. I don't know. it's very it's unclear, but I'm sure, well, maybe I'm not sure since this isn't the true route, but we'll get some more info probably later. Also Hana's missing. This is like I assume a couple hours before Ashton and the gang arrive, so that's why there's a bunch of security looking, both trying to keep Tatato out and also looking for Hana, who Kyoto. It's gonna take a while to switch from Kyoto to Tatato since the majority of the playthrough just been calling her Kyoto. But yeah, she's been stolen. So I mean, eventually Tatato comes with Hana. So as we saw in the end of the Ashton route, but let's see what happens leading up to where we left off on the Ashton route. And again, it made sense. Now it makes more sense why Luke had a freaking pistol with him, because he thought the intruders, I don't know, kidnapped his wife. So made sense. Anyways, let's continue now. For a moment, I still hear his voice while he gives the guards outside firm instructions, then a hush as soon as he departs and his footsteps fade away. Him referring to Johan. One that doesn't quite last. As quickly as the silence settles, lightning flashes across the sky, followed immediately by the loud boom of thunder. And that winter strikes so dangerously close that I can feel the electricity in the air. The power goes out not a second later, and I feel like as if I'm being mocked by whatever greater power there is. All is deathly still for a moment, but soon the rain starts once again. Far heavier than the light drizzle from this morning, its pitter-patter hitting hard against this place's roof. Despite the noise, I find myself drawn to my bed, exhausted, hoping for a little nap. I'm safe here. Hana will be safe too. Optimistic. Shrokin will find her, and when I wait, she'll be here. It does not take long. Once my head hits the pillow, in a matter of minutes, darkness claims me, bringing with it laughter and whispers of a twisted love from a long time ago. Uh-oh. Dream time.
Who are you?
What the?
Stay away.
Jesus.
Sweet dreams, my love. It'll be over soon.
Kind of sounds like Hana. Cursed Hana. Oh, here we go. Wow. Could have stopped a couple minutes later, Aiden, from the last episode. Get a nice stop place, but that's alright. Yet in spite of the unfamiliar voices and unwanted touches from shadows lurking in the dark, rousing is a slow, arduous process. Difficult, every limb heavy with lead. No matter my aversion for the words they murmur in my ears, or the sight of her horrid smile from afar, my body refuses to yield. I am at their mercy. Beyond fathomable reason, my consciousness refuses the pull of the waking world. Refuses the pull of the waking world, choosing to linger in the pits of a dream, gradually drawing me deeper into unknown depths. Somehow, even if it may mean I may never open my eyes, I allow them.
You do not belong there, my prince.
Not that I mind getting a few extra hours, of course. The bed's more than comfortable as it is, after an exhausting day yesterday. Babysitting Kylie, and the stress of finding an intruder in my own home. I think I deserve a little break. Every once in a while, especially after going through all that in a single day. I can only be on the receiving end of so many unacceptable things within the span of a few hours, you know? As gracious as a host and person I am, my patience has its limits too. Although there's still the problem with Hana. I haven't forgotten that, of course, but that's why I hired Shroken. He's competent enough. He won't even last a day in my service if he is any lesser than those half-wits who think they can deceive me with sweet words. He's more than capable of working on his own without guidance. Let the butler take care of that little problem with Hana while I... Hana.
You do not need her.
Don't tell me what I need.
I am here. We are here. This is where your home is. Where you belong. For the blood we share.
Spooky. I remember talking that I do think Takako and Past Luke had a child.
Come back to us.
How long has it been since? Johannes has never taken this long before.
Surely there should have been an update by now. Alright?
So why isn't there? Oh,
Please don't go.
Bloody hell, the cretins I've surrounded myself with.
and isn't that enough reason to force myself out of bed? As it has always been the case. So obviously Luke can't even hear these voices we're hearing. Oh. My eyes fly open, expecting the warm rays of sunshine filtering through the curtains, only to be greeted by a blinding flash of light and a loud boom of thunder that sounded nearly too close to my ears. Strong gusts of wind will occasionally burst in from the open balcony door, bringing in the drizzles of cold rain into the room. Why is the balcony door? I guess there's no actual door to the balcony, eh? That sucks. I must have. Oh, never mind. There literally is. I lied. It just looks like that. I must have left it open earlier before dozing off. The carpet and the floor closest to it is already drenched. Hana's going to be so cross when she sees this. Not that I'm in an immediate problem. If anything, it's this power outage that we should be minding first. But the intruder's still at large. Steering through this darkness might be far more fatal than multiple stab wounds, or a gunshot to the chest.
Oh, great. The power's still out. That is exactly what I need right now. Yes.
It's this storm, of course. I should have moved back to the penthouse to weather it in a much more comfortable setting. Already I can hear the creak and groans of this old place as rain beats against the windows.
Johans, has someone been sent to check the circuit breaker yet?
No answer.
Johans?
Silence.
Shroken! Someone! Anyone?
Still nothing, and my cordial mood is quickly dissipating.
Where are those idiots when you need them?
It's really a wonder why he hasn't fixed this yet. Was I really out that long? Can't be. It's only been a few hours after midnight. If the time on my wristwatch is anything to go by. Unless I've forgotten to change it again after the last overseas trip a month ago. Though the delay is understandable if he went looking for Hana as he promised. But bloody hell, my safety is also at stake here. I love how all the story change. I bet there's a way to kill Hana early. It'd be really weird because at this point, like, maybe only Ashton and Lute would be alive, so they'd probably have a crazy showdown instead of like the kind of an understanding discussion. Cursing, I stay still, letting my eyes try and adjust to the darkness while my hands fumble for my slippers. If that butler isn't going to fix this, I may as well order the security posted outside to do it. It's probably just a blown fuse. Anyone with a brain can repair one. Grabbing my jacket and my footwear finally on, I made for the door. Although, in haste, I pause briefly when a gleam catches my eye. On one of my drawers, underneath the cutter I've yet to organize, the muzzle of a gun peeks out. Hana has never openly commented my possession of it, but I know she does not approve of it, knowing the bloody firearms policy in this nation. Yeah, I know guns aren't a thing in Britain. I mean, they're not really a thing in Canada. But I think they're, like, a little bit. Obviously not as much as our neighbors. Of course, I've not found much use for it in the 7 years we've been together. Otherwise, she would have already thrown it out years ago. Doesn't mean it won't be useful right now. Without a second thought, I seize it, sending the stuff piled above it onto the floor. Eh? Whatever. I'll get to it later. This blackout problem should be resolved first. Right next to my missing security detail, as it turns out.
Where the fuck did everyone go?
They all got consumed by the house, probably. Hopefully Johans is just chilling. There were two, weren't there? Schroken had 2 bloats posted to stand guard for the night. I might be panicking for a bit earlier, but I'm quite sure I haven't gotten delusional yet. What? Did both of them decide to take a break because they think the master's already sound asleep and won't be looking for them?
Damn nitwits.
I know assassinations happen very rarely these days, and even less in a peaceful city like Lutzburn. But bullets. There's been a woman going in and out of this place uninvited, who may or may not want to put a knife in my back. Isn't that enough reason to stay on alert? I'm fairly certain Schroken won't just enlist their help for this power outage, only to leave me unprotected. We have a difficult friendship, so to speak, but I doubt that man is an opportunist. I'm holding the lives of his family in my hands after all. Okay. Cool detail. He knows what I'm capable of doing. He's not stupid enough to do anything that'll endanger them and save only himself. So where then? Only my footsteps echo along the dark passage, and I am left gripping the handle of my pistol for some sort of comfort. Without proper lighting, and with the storm still raging outside, the stories I've heard about this place seem to have some truth to it. Some. If I'm reaching and wish to entertain myself for a bit, I'll say there might also be ghosts whispering in my ears, calling. Of course, it's just the wind and the trees rustling outside. Nothing good will come of allowing these thoughts to linger when problems are piling up in front of me one after another. Especially with what greets me once I get to the foyer. The gang. Journal update. Okay, we're close to being up to date on the timeline. Where would it be? Well, you think it would be before this, but whatever. Lucrate woke up to a storm raging outside and his whole house eerily quiet. Power was still off and his butler was nowhere to be found, even when called. Taking his gun with him, he went out to investigate and in the foyer of his own home. Though it's large, the windows still illuminate the area much more easily than any of the other rooms. And from where I stand at the top of the stairs, I can easily make out their forms, recognize them even. It's all gone crazy when these intruders come to my house. I'm no stranger to a cop playing dirty. The smart ones knew that neither life nor criminals are going to play fair. And if one of this wad sort is in on this, I'm not surprised too. But Lily? The estate agent? She doesn't seem the sort. And Daisy too? What will Kylie think of Miss Pink if the poor tyke finds out about this? Not to mention Mint. Hana trusted her. I trusted her to be a professional, at the very least for fuck's sake. To top it all off, they all have the nerve to look surprised when I announce my presence.
Well, what have we here? If I were any less sober, I'd say this is the beginning of a joke.
Bloody trespassers. What is wrong with these people? Did they really think I'll be fine with them walking into my home like this? What are they even doing in here? If I didn't know any better, they might also be behind Hana's disappearance.
That's right, my love.
They must have a motive.
Make them pay.
And it better be a good one.
Not to us.
What has any of them done to you, besides juking you? Or a bullet to the head is the least of all of them will deserve.
Let's see. A photographer, a high school teacher, a real estate agent, an interior designer walk into a mansion.
Okay, dude. Thunder crackles once again, cutting me off. This time it sounds hits close enough that it nearly feels as if the windows and the ground itself are rumbling. All is deathly still for a moment. I don't let it stop me, however, as I slowly make my way towards them, taking one careful step at a time, relishing the expression of fear in their eyes. I suppose there's something ominous in this setting, with the heavy rain outside and the lack of light here. I kinda like it, and to be honest, add something to the atmosphere. I suppose I must look like the villain now. But short of me getting close to them, a noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movements while curiosity takes over every murmurs in my head. And it's a good thing, perhaps, that I did, because as soon as I look up, I see him. Another trespasser. Great. Just as he's about to jump down from the furniture. Oh, that's Ashton. I was like, what's happening? Is someone jumping down from the ceiling? Right, Ashton came in late. I remember now. Just as he's about to jump down from the furniture, that has somehow ended up piled and blocking the door to the parlor. What happened there? And did he really think it's alright to do that in other people's house? Lout.
Put him in his place.
Oh, so creepy. The Hana creepy voice might be the creepiest in my opinion. My hand's already moving before any rationale can stop me. Fingers firm at my gun, when I finally release the safety from it and take aim. Not at him, but at his friends. They are his, aren't they? Why else would they be here together? Doesn't matter, he won't let the people he cares about be harmed. My fingers on the trigger are more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. Sure, I could have simply taken aim at him. But more than seeing him bleed, I want to see the expression on his face once he realizes everything he's doing is futile. He's trapped. Lives are in my hand. His life's in my hand.
Had I known there would be a party in my own home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two. People these days, in my own home. Can you believe it? I feel so left out.
I can tell that that moment the realization dawns on him. A short second of his body freezing and the blood draining from his face as soon as his feet hits the floor and he looks up. He's already a prey trapped in by his own recklessness.
And really, Daisy, even you, what would Kylie say?
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What about little Lily over there, then? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is? Oh, we're doing good, by the way.
Sir, please.
Oh, please, what?
Becca's right, sir. We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Tut-tut, not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry, I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman. Can't say the same for the rest of you. But really now, I swear the people of this city need to be taught the meaning of privacy. This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
It's just a passing remark, of course. I'm not stupid enough to do something that'll bring negative attention to myself. I love it because when you're in Ashton's POV, he's like, oh, Lute's not the type of guy to bluff. I can really see him doing it. Reputation and all that, I can't just risk it. The thought of having dead bodies here, wonder what story change that is. Unless, like, I guess Hana dying here, then dead bodies have already been there. Ones that I'm not even responsible for, they're the ones who trespassed. It's already quite too much. It'll literally be overkill, especially for someone like me. Nevertheless, joke or not, Feathers wastes no time drawing his own gun at this slight wave of my own, even if he knows it's already too late. Still, he glares at me. Still, he fights back.
Now, Feathers, manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
There's no desperation in him like I'm hoping, just an annoyance flickering shortly before being hidden underneath a challenge. The likes of him are the kind of people I hate the most. Even with their failures already glaring down at them, mocking every worthless move they make, they have the impudence to stare people in the eye.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talked the gall. You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Annoying most of the time, like a damn pest you can't be rid of. But to some degree, it is commendable. I'll give him that. After all, we're almost the same in that regard. Almost. I'm still the better person, of course. He tells me to put the gun down, but I see no reason why I should. I'm a homeowner in the defense of my own home. I have the right, I'd like to think. Questionable permit of firearms aside, it's not like I wanted this, but I'm already high-strung and their presence does not help. Bloody peasants. I can never seem to figure out how their minds fully work. Take this one, for example. Despite the pride brimming in him, how he matches my glare with one of his own, he simply lowers his pistol after a second longer. After a long second, not in surrender. The tense set in his shoulders tells me as much, but the closest he can get to lowering his own ego in favor of something I can't quite place. Interesting. Gotta admit, I'm almost disappointed.
As you should be, my lord.
I've expected him to hold out until one of us shoots the other. Can't say it'll be more exciting that way. A bullet inside any part of my body isn't something I'd like to have on a bad day like today, or any day for that matter. But it'll surely be predictable of him. And I like predictable. They're the kinds of people who are the easiest to deal with, no matter the situation. With them, there's no second guessing what they'll do. He shoots, I shoot. One of us dies, the other rots away. Nothing complicated. Nothing requiring much brain power. Just muscle memory and who's the better shooter. End of story. Yet, here he is, drinking a deep breath in and setting aside the only thing protecting him. I can easily shoot him this way, be done with this whole farce of a conversation. Instead, I find myself listening. A concession for a person who, in another life, would have also become the person I am today, had his circumstances allowed it. Damn shame. We might have gotten along.
Listen, right. I need you to...
But alas.
You broke into my house, and somehow, you expect me to listen like a good little boy. Are you a bit touched in the head, Feathers? I'm not the one breaking laws here.
Look here, fucker. If I wanted you dead, I could have done it so many times already. In fact, I can easily shoot you down right here, right now. And you won't be able to do a damn thing, even with that gun.
A meeting of two prideful bloats will never go well, whichever lifetime it is. And I can only laugh at his audacity, his lack of shame and fear even facing the business end of my pistol.
You know what I'm thinking right now? In another lifetime, we would have probably gotten along well.
The best truth I can offer him. Not many people, those who have slighted me, in particular, lived this long to see it.
You should be grateful. You're already gracious enough, allowing him to stand in your presence like this.
Yes, especially when he has a lot to answer. Preferably right now, because as generous as I have been so far, my patience has its limits. My amusement can only last for so long. In 2 steps, I'm standing in front of him, grabbing him by the collar and resting the cold muzzle of the eagle against his temple.
Luke, no!
Hey, now you two, I'm sure we can all talk about this first.
He'll end up a pretty smear on the wall this close.
What is it that you people really want with me? This is the second time this week, and I'm really getting weary of this little game. Did the NCA send you to apprehend me? Or has somebody paid you off to kill me? Which one is it, Feathers? Mind you, my arm's getting tired. Better answer quick if you don't want to beat the business end of this gun.
And he knows it. Of course he does. Hitman or not, he has been trained, judging purely from his stance. But not many bother to be as cautious as him. One glimpse at my handgun safety earlier is all it took for him to see that I mean business. Similar. Too similar. We're too alike in so many little ways, it's funny. Down to the fact that he doesn't even flinch, no matter how heavy the threats in my words are. Even knowing how one flick of my finger on the trigger will be enough to end his sorry life. He should have caved in by now, started begging, like so many others before him. Instead, he throws more vitriol, adds more kindling to a fire already burning.
I'm not with NCA. I'm just here to help. There's something else in this house, and we're all in danger. You have to believe me, right? You need to let us go. You need to get out of here before it's too late. If you want to keep your sorry ass alive, you'll listen to people with more brain cells than you.
Igniting it further, that I can't help but to return it to him with equal fervor. We don't need him, my love.
Why, you insolent!
We both decide to move in that moment, both of our bodies tensing, each of us racing to get ahead of the other. However, before we can even get a head start, a voice unexpectedly rings above the chaos about to ensue.
Help me.
Here we go. Possible thumbnail, even though we've seen it before. Don't kill Hana. I've always been cautious and careful, cutting off trouble's head before things can escalate if I'm able. That's why I deal with the likes of Harvey, Suarez, and Johannes. For all who we are, for all the enemies the likes of us can make, such a thing has never happened before. Because I do everything to make sure it doesn't happen. So to see Hana in danger, I don't quite know how to feel or what to do. Of all the times for there to be a hostage situation, if this is even one, why now? Good fucking god, what is going on here?
Help me. Please. Please make it stop.
I think death would be preferable in my sense of self-preservation, was shot to high hell. It would deprive me of a choice and responsibility in the matter. And I don't want to think about how fast my heart beats, so that I hardly hear anything other than my own heartbeat and her pleading.
Please. They're in my head. Screaming. It hurts so much.
What do I do? What can one do against someone holding your life in their hands? With a woman that looks more monster than man. When the woman's expression turns into one of amusement and her laughter fills the air, I want to call her out on it. There's a rage simmering just beneath my skin. but my own scream dies down in my throat. All that I'm able to muster is a pathetic croak. She laughs as if this is all some sick joke. My breathing becomes a bit too shallow for my liking, and I feel like I'm on a precipice where one wrong move can lead to someone dying. Oh, please. I already have enough pressure on my plate. This is crazy. All of it.
Luke, help me, please. I can't.
And something in me snaps. There's a switch in my head that wants to go one way or the other. I have to. I hate this. Why would I keep quiet? Nah, this is the good ending, baby. Stop it. Keep quiet. Stop it. Demand it. Give me that plus, baby. What am I doing? Why am I even hesitating? That's the Luke we know and love. I won't go so far to claim that I'm any sort of decent human being, but this is Hana, my wife I'm talking about here. What sort of husband, what sort of father would I be if I just stood idly while she was in danger? That doesn't change the fact that this is all fucking insane, of course. Having all these intruders is crazy. To think about going at this thing is crazy. I can hardly classify it as a person in my eyes. Perhaps a maggot that needs to be crushed under my shoe, just like the rest of the story lot. But a person? Hardly. But I care for none of it. But I care none for any of it. They don't matter. All that matters is that Hana and my children are in danger. But cold pours over me, freezes me in place once more when I try to make demands. I have to take deep breaths, grip my teeth, and steel my fists to even find the courage to speak up.
Let go of her. Don't hurt her. Whatever it is you want. Just don't you dare hurt her.
Not as demanding as I thought it was going to be, but reasonable. And if my voice isn't as firm as I'd like, it doesn't matter. I will beg and plead if I have to. On my knees, bend my fucking proud neck and maybe even break it, just to make sure she's safe. It's not her life alone that is in danger. Our children's lives are on the line, even mine perhaps. Because I don't know what I would do if anything happened to Hana. I will plead for the woman who will be the mother of my children. The cold stillness is gone from my body and my very skin feels like it's on fire. And I have to shout, scream at her when Hana continues to cry out in pain.
What do you want? Money? Is that it? I'll give you however much you want.
Luke, please make it stop. I want it to stop.
Just stop whatever it is you're doing to her. Can't you see she's hurting?
I cannot stand for this.
Let go of her. Now!
I say it with such a ridiculous conviction, and of course she won't listen. Why would she? She has the upper hand here. There's no reason for her to do as I ask. But her voice is but a whisper and deathly slow, and I'm hard-pressed to hear it over the pounding of my heart in my ears. She speaks. The woman from the gardens, and the servant girl from the ballroom, from the hallucination, visions, memories, whatever they were. A hush over the room as we listen.
Do you really wish to be with her?
There are no second thoughts.
More than anything. So please, let her go.
This isn't the true ending, baby. Everyone's living. Though her expression doesn't change, I have this most awful feeling that it wasn't the answer she was looking for. I can see how the woman fingers tightens around Hana's throat. Hear the hitch in her breath, and I fear that I've made the worst decision is speaking out. I didn't think she will listen, yet she does. Nice. Easy. I don't know if actually everyone dies in the true ending, but I just assume, because you get fragments from killing people. And you probably learn full backstory of Totoko when we don't really know anything about her, besides just assumptions. Injured, Luke demanded for Hana's release from the woman. Although the woman eventually released his wife, there was anger and contempt in her face. All of a sudden, the whole house shifted. In a blink, blood and gore was everywhere. Hey, spoilers? Spoilers? A hand on Hana's bat sends her falling down the stairs. I move to catch her that send us both sprawling out on this at the foot of the stairs. With my bat to the ground and her on top of me, the pain doesn't even register in my head. All I can worry about is Hana and the baby's well-being as I pull both of us off the ground and away from the stairs, away from her.
Are you alright, Hannah? Are you hurt?
It takes much too long for my liking before she speaks. All she's able to do for a moment is whimper in pain, a hand to her throat. And when she does manage to speak, her voice is far too faint along with the hold she has on my arm. It's terrifying to see her like this, and to think I nearly lost her.
We are fine, Luke. I'm sorry. Just give me a moment.
For a moment, we forget. But
You deserve each other.
oh, looks like Tatato gave up on Luke. Just hearing her voice triggers something in Hana, and she starts to tear up. Her face contorts into one of pain and fear. But I grab her by the shoulders to keep her in place, so that she can see me, and only me, so that I can only see her too.
Look at me, Hannah. Look, I'm here. You're safe. I won't let her hurt you again. Do you understand? Just breathe.
I don't know exactly what in the bloody hell is going on, yet I can't find it in me to care, whoever these people are and whatever they're here for. These are not acceptable conditions for a pregnant woman. For all I know, this is some dumb charade to get to me. All the times I've seen the woman before, it could have all been an act to get to me, to get under my skin. And to think they dare hurt Hana, for all that the fear that I had felt seeing her touch Hana, I can only think of her as an actress in grotesque makeup. My hand still shakes, the fear not having quite gone, but anger fills me as I look up to the woman, a sneer on my face.
How dare you! I don't care who you are, but how dare you touch Hannah! I want you out of my house! Out before I call the police and have you put away for the rest of your miserable life!
Yeah, I can see why she gets angry.
And that goes for all of you!
I hold my ground, firm and strong with my declaration. But the nerve of her, she just laughs in my face. A terrible, dreadful laugh that makes me feel as if there are ants crawling on my skin and maggots squirming into my ears.
You are telling me to get out of your house. You threatened to lock me up.
She laughs and she laughs. I wonder if those are like similar words to old Hana from the past. Or past Hana, I guess is better.
What's so funny? What are you laughing at? None of this is funny!
But she persists, and it almost feels like her voice is in my head.
Oh, no different. No different. You're all the same. You can all suffer together.
And that is when everything turns to complete and utter shite. Oh, baby. What's happening? Nice group shot, though. It's a slow thing, a whisper more than a bang as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. And the walls shudder and groan. Blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down the walls, and stains the floor. It feels as if life is being sucked from the house slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it's just the foyer that has become this nightmarish place. I can only hear it. I can already hear it. Gone are the growlings of thunder and the lashings of rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it has been replaced by a more grating sound. A cacophony of voices from nowhere and everywhere echoing throughout the now horrid walls. Voice from that neither belongs to us nor to the people who live here.
What's going on?
All throughout the house, shouts the alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. Even Daisy, feisty woman that she is, trembles at the sight of it, clinging desperately to Lily, while Steel and Feather stand protectively in front of the two. Brave of them, I have to admit, to put themselves in the front line like that. Though it doesn't necessarily mean they don't feel the same fear as the rest of us. Something I don't blame them for. There seems to be no end to the sight of this insanity. Hold up. Nothing? Never mind. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning of the end.
Help me. Oh my god. Please, somebody. Anybody. Who are you? Stay away. No. Stay away. Stay away.
The screams fill the mansion. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. Nah. This is the cliffhanger, baby. I know it feels like we're really close to finishing the game, actually. We gotta stop here, though, guys. 1:30 a.m. But thank you for watching. Very cool stuff. Looks like Totako has given up on Luke. Why? Because this is the Aiden route, aka no deaths, faithful marriage. Maybe I would have replaced Isabella and Rebecca's relationship with Ashton if I had a second chance, but that's okay. But thank you for watching. Hopefully enjoy. Maybe finale at next episode. Can't promise anything since I don't actually know. But thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.